there's one phrase which really stuck out for me about making Britain the greatest country on earth. I don't know if you heard a
Sounds
bit
like
of...
someone else I know.
Yeah, exactly,
Trump.
exactly. So I wasn't the only one who heard the shade of somebody else in that sentence. In terms of the sort of reception he got, well, there were quite a few jeers, weren't there? Because the Speaker of the House of Commons actually had to stop the speech at one point to say, please, listen to the whole speech with courtesy. So he did get heckled a lot. What actually were the points at which he got those jeers? So I noted a few of them down. When he talked about... he said there's evidence that alternative arrangements to the backstop are possible. That he got quite a lot of sort of laughter in his face from the opposition benches when he said that, because of course their point is that there is no evidence that such technology exists. Another point where he got a few jeers was when he mentioned the £39 billion that Britain would have at its disposal if it left without a deal. It's been pointed out that if Britain doesn't pay that £39 billion to the European Union, then the European Union would in all likelihood not open free trade negotiations with Britain. And after all, Britain and the EU they're in the same regulatory framework now, so it would actually be much easier to make that trade deal with the EU than with the US, which has different regulatory standards. So the Britain and the EU would be aligned, but how could they do a trade deal if there's this massive falling out over the money? So he got a bit of jeers about that, and well, generally, it was a pretty pugnacious speech, trying to portray the opposition as doubters and gloomsters. So we've got a pretty good sense of how, how much more bitter and divided this debate is going to get now, with Boris Johnson as Prime Minister and Jeremy Corbyn as the leader of the opposition.